Hello, carefree cooks all over the world. We're back together again. It's Chef Todd Moore, and it's Tuesday Talk Live. Hey, did you even imagine that there could be 9 service styles, 9 different ways to throw a holiday party? I bet you never even thought of it, and I bet you can't come up with 3. So start thinking about that. While I remind you, if you're watching this at some other time, you should have gone to webcookingclasses.com/live and registered for my bot alert where you get to talk to Cyber Todd. But I do send out 15 minutes before I'm about to go live and all these cook-alongs that we've been doing if you want to be alerted, because I get that question a lot. Chef Todd, how can I find out when you're going to go live? This is the way to do it. webcookingclasses.com/live. Put your address in there because we're carefree cooks, right? What makes us different from all the other cooks everywhere else? Well, number one, we create our own recipes. And you know what that does? That brings friends and family together because the person that cooks is the most social person usually. They attract people. But you know, you don't just take out another recipe and get frustrated the next day. You don't have to relearn cooking every time. You learn additionally every time you cook, and you start to define your own cooking style. Why? Because you practice pro methods and you love your cooking. That's what being a carefree cook is all about. And if you've missed any Tuesday Talk Lives, they're all cataloged on my Pinterest page, Chef Todd Moore, or on Instagram, Chef Todd Moore. That's how you find them. Oh my goodness. I'm so depressed. I'm normally, as you can tell, I'm not a depressed kind of person. I'm pretty hyper. I've been so most of my life, but this is the last Tuesday Talk Live of the year. I mean, next Tuesday's Christmas Day. You don't want to wake up to Chef Todd, you know? And the following Tuesday is New Year's Day, and I don't think I'll be in any shape to speak with anyone. So this will be the last time of the year, but oh my goodness, what a year we have had together, right? This has been tremendous. We started in July and we started talking about food safety. Actually, the first Tuesday Talk Live where we went public with everyone was in June, feeling it out. And then we started talking about food safety. We had discussions in July about what upscale cooking is and downscale cooking. I don't want you to ever think that you have to cook fancy to be proud of your cooking. Don't let these TV chefs tell you you have to make pheasant or, or something to be proud of your cooking. You don't. A grilled cheese sandwich can make you very proud. So it doesn't have to be upscale. It can be downscale and be twice as good. Remember when you came to Long Island with me on my birthday trip out to Montauk Point, the easternmost part of Long Island, and we had fried clams and all kinds of stuff together. In August, we talked about cooking heritage and thinking about what your influences today on your cooking are and where they came from. We talked about cooking for one in September, had a whole class on rice in September. We got to why is food so ghoulish around the holidays? Why do you have to make ugly food? And I railed about that, We talked about nutrition and quality of food versus convenience and why cooking is such a benefit to you. Then we got into the holidays. I gave you my pie dough 1, 2, 3, which is the easiest way to make pie. We talked about turkey till we were sick of turkey. Yes, had a thankful heart when we talked about gathering people together for the holiday dinner. We talked about appetizers for this upcoming holiday that we're going to talk about again, and all the potlucks that you've been invited to right up to Christmas, right through New Year's, tips on how to do that, holiday stuffing that we cooked together, and it ended last week with the Holiday Cookie University. So thank you for taking this journey with me. I love sharing the things that I know. I love sharing the things that I've discovered on my journey from a advertising sales guy here in Charm City, downtown Baltimore, Maryland, and I sold billboard space, to realizing my dream of going to culinary college, discovering the methods behind cooking that weren't being shared, and then having the opportunity to share them with hundreds of thousands of people all over the world. So thank you for such a tremendous year, and we're going to continue it into 2009. So, all these things that we've talked about over the past year, do you notice I didn't give you a single recipe? I defy you to find an episode of Tuesday Talk Live where we shared recipes, right? We talked about types. We talked about methods. We talked about techniques. We talked about ways or little mnemonic devices that you can get into your head to remember things, because when you have the dependable methods, that's when the creativity comes out. That's when you have so much fun. And these are the insights of professional chefs that are not shared with people. Unless you're a carefree cook. Then you start to internalize them, right? Then you start to cook as if you were a chef. I don't care, you know? I want everybody to cook like a chef at home. I want everybody to be carefree in their cooking, and I want to continue that into the new year. I've got so much great stuff planned for you for 2019. So many new lessons. I've got a lot of travel planned so we can see what and how other people eat. We're going to do a lot of new live cooking segments. You saw I had my kitchen totally redone so that it would look nice, so that we could film and you can build more confidence in the kitchen in 2019. So cheers to all of us, right? But the holidays aren't over yet. You've still got parties to go to. New Year's is coming together. What are you going to do for New Year's? Are you throwing a party? Are people coming to your place? Are you going to a party? Did you go to a large ballroom? Are you just meeting a few friends at a bar? Are you going to have a nice sit down for an intimate group? Well, each of these things is a different service style. And this is a really important concept in the professional restaurant for a professional chef and for a home cook as well. And it's the last thing I want to leave you with in 2018 is the service styles for having your parties this holiday season, because it's a skill to match the menu to the service style. Some of them go very well. Some of them could be a complete disaster. Can you imagine having like a stand-up cocktail event and serve lasagna? You need a knife and a fork, and you have to balance on your leg, you know? So I want to help you with these ideas, because over the years and years and years that we've been cooking online, I always talk about it's not what you cook. You know, that's what the recipe tells you, the list of ingredients. It's never about what you cook. It's about how you cook it. It's those step-by-step things that a recipe tells you that the recipe is really bad at. You know, the recipe is good for a list of ingredients, bad at what? So not what you cook, but how you cook. And now what I want to talk to you about is not necessarily what you serve. Going to change that a little bit. It's not what you serve. Wait, champagne, what you serve. It's how you serve it. That's the whole idea. So we're going to talk today about service styles for holiday parties. And when you start to think about these styles, and this is a course that I used to teach in culinary school. This was called Entree Production Class. So my team of to-be chefs, wannabe chefs, would cook in a certain style, and we partnered with another class. I used to call it the waiter and waitress class, but it was like hospitality services or something. But they had a simulated restaurant at the culinary college, and they would serve. We didn't trust these people with the general public, so they would serve the staff as guinea pigs. They would serve the other teachers and stuff, and they would serve in a certain style. So this was the coordination in culinary college that we always tried to do. The food that I was preparing as the executive chef in the class of production with the way that they were going to serve it. So you get the idea? All right, everybody knows the first one. The first one is called American service, and this is when food is individually plated in the kitchen and it's served to diners. Just about any restaurant you go to is what's called American service. You place your order, the waiter brings it to you at the table. Now, the advantage of this is the kitchen controls the portion. And as a caterer, you always want to control the portion of the food, right? And as someone hosting a party in your house, you don't want to run out of food either, right? So if you can control the portions, that's great. And you can control how the plates look. That's the advantage. The disadvantage of this is it takes a lot of time to plate all that stuff up. and you need the counter space to lay all these plates out. Or you need to be able to prepare things and have the hot holding equipment so that you can put asparagus on the plate at the same time as the meat and the gravy is warm and so on. It's a disadvantage. You kind of have to know some catering skills to do a plate up in your home, an American service, or what we call plate up. Or you could choose a buffet style. Now, this is a lot of times what you do see in a home, or what's at the Golden Corral, or the salad bar at the Ruby Tuesday, right? You display all the prepared foods, and guests go up and help themselves. Now, as someone who was a caterer for almost a decade, it can be a horrible mistake if you allow people to go serve themselves. Now, there is an advantage. This is very easy for you. You put out the big pans of food and they hold hot. You have to have chafing dishes or crock pots or something like that to hold it hot. This is why the Chinese buffet at lunch is a buffet. It's so much easier for the restaurant to do that. But you know, the disadvantage is the portion control. My goodness, caterers have so many little tips and tricks to try and keep you from bringing too much, because every caterer knows that people take twice as much as they eat. People's eyes are so much bigger than their stomachs. You know it. You've seen it. You've been on a buffet line where people are glomming their plates. And this is a nightmare for the caterer when he cooked for 100 people, but people took 150 people's worth of food out of the chafing dishes. So the buffet is good for the home cook, but you're going to allow people to take their food. You might decide on an interactive buffet. Now, this is a lot of times the way we solve this, and you see this at resorts a lot. You might see this at higher-end hotels. An interactive buffet is when you have the buffet there, the display of all the prepared foods, but it's served by a staff member. It's served by a chef. You could put carving station under this. You could put the omelet station under this. An advantage of this is the portion control. The guy now serving the food is on your side. You know, he's not going to give them 3 chicken breasts. He'll smile and nod carefully and say, you know, sir, I'd be more than glad to give you more when you come back. I wouldn't want people taking on my guests. But look, the other advantage is people like to see their food carved. They like to have it served to them. They like to see the omelet station or some kind of action involved. And I, as a professional chef and caterer, I've done this even at my home catered events. I've done dessert stir fry, or I've done a Caesar salad in front of people, things like that. And we'll get to that as well. The disadvantage here is you do have to pay someone or have someone to dish out that food for you. So you're trading the labor for the portion is really what it is. If I put a guy back there who's on my side, he's going to be a little lighter with the portions. If I take that labor away, then I pay for it in food that people are going to take, is the way it is. You could do butler service if you wanted. And this is where guests serve themselves from a platter of food that a server offers them. This is your art museum opening. This is, yeah, I haven't been to too many art museum. I don't know why I said that. This is an art gallery. I just picture like an art gallery, you know. This is an event where waiters are coming out. This is before the wedding reception maybe. And there are, whatever might be, skewers of things, usually things on a toothpick, certainly not things that you would need a knife and fork for. You don't ever want to do butler things where somebody has to, again, balance and juggle a knife and a fork. It's usually something on a toothpick. It's usually a 2-bite item served on a napkin. It's a butler event. Now, the advantage of this, again, is the portion control. You can make those little shrimp egg rolls as big or as small as you want. You can send those appetizers out as many times as you want. And as a caterer, if somebody ever tried to limit the number, and they would say to me, look, Chef Todd, I want your crab cakes, but because your crab cakes are such high quality, because you use only Maryland crab meat, which makes them very expensive, I only want to buy 100 of them. I don't want it to be open crab season. So if the person were limiting the number of crab cakes they want me to serve to their guests, I wouldn't put them in a chafing dish out on a buffet. The first guy would take 25 of them, right? But if I butler them, if I put 15 on a tray at a time and have the person come out, they almost get tackled, right? By the third pass. Have you ever been in a wedding where you're waiting by the kitchen doors? You know that waiter's coming back out with those Thai spring rolls or something. You're going to pounce as soon as they do. But a disadvantage of this, again, you got to hire somebody to walk around. Plus, you need the labor in the kitchen as well to set up these items. Also, another disadvantage of this is that you can't have a wide variety of things being passed. You're usually going to stick to 2 or 3 things. Now, this is a good idea for you in your home if you're deciding to only make like 25 hot dog wrapped pigs in a blanket, 25 crab cakes, 25 something else. You pass them and the hot dogs are gone. Then you come out, you pass the crab cakes and then they're gone. Butlering is a much better way than a buffet if you have a limited amount of food. Or you could go with an English service. Now, this is a little bit more at the table, but this is where food is plated by for each diner at the table by the host. This is like Thanksgiving, right? This is your Charles Dickens Thanksgiving. Oh, God bless us all. Everyone. Yes, master, it is a beautiful bird. So I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to my friends in the UK for that terrible accent. But right, I see Dickens. I see the father of the family standing at the top of the table, carving the bird, plating a piece where they pass the plate around. Heck, even at the end of The Grinch, right? Roast beast was a feast that the Grinch liked in the least. But at the end, even the Grinch carved the roast beast, and he carved one piece. They passed it all the way down to the table. They gave it to the dog, but it was English service is what he was doing. The advantage is the portion control. The host at the top of the table, he's making the plate, so he controls the portions. And it's also kind of a nice presentation, right? Ooh, there's a lot of oohs and ahs. Although this weekend I watched Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, where Chevy Chase cuts into the turkey and it goes poof, and it just opens up dry. So hopefully it's a good presentation. But the disadvantage is, I hope you got some skill level in carving the turkey at the table. Now, you don't want to be, is Jesse with us today? You don't want to be like my Uncle Donnie, who I've seen go at it like a bear, right? You got to have some skills if you're going to do that. And it's time consuming. I mean, if you're serving 10 or 15 people, the first person is either done eating, or if they have manners, their food is cold by the time that the last person gets it. So it has to be a certain number of people to do the English service. Family style is usually what you do. You put enough food for everybody on a platter, and the guests serve themselves. Imagine that big American Thanksgiving table with a big bowl of mashed potatoes and a big bowl of sweet potatoes and a big platter of turkey, right? Ho, ho, ho. It's family style. And this is often what we do at the holiday. The advantage is that it's really easy when you're done cooking. And this is actually a lot of what my holiday cooking success course talks about, is a family style service, because it's so much easier to make things ahead of time and keep them in that bowl, keep them warm. Plus the diners get to make their own plate. They get their own choices, right? The disadvantage, again, is it's a little bit like a buffet. It's portion control. You got a real portion control style. And, you know, the presentation. I mean, you know, my Uncle Joe, he doesn't make the nicest plate. You know, me, I'm a chef. Even on a buffet, I'm laying this out that way. I'm still going with the plate presentation when I'm making my own plate. But sometimes I got to look over at Joe and just be like, oh, Joe, you made that just a pile of food. Like, really? The green beans on top of the mashed potatoes and then the gravy. Oh my goodness. Oh, there goes the cornbread too. Oh, Joe, no. It's a terrible presentation. So when Joe's coming, I try not to do family style. We could do French service. All right, now you really want to impress your guests. Food is prepared many times from a raw state, tableside. by the server. So how would that freak people out, right? This is, I mentioned Caesar salad before. This is a lot of times a flambe. They do this for dessert often. If you've ever been on a cruise ship, when they do baked Alaska, they'll do this tableside. The cart, as a bit of trivia, and I used to spring this on my culinary students as a word of the day, the cart is called a guéridon. A guéridon is the cart on which it's served. Now, there is an amazing restaurant downtown Baltimore here that's called Tio Pepe. It's been here for like 45 years. The waiters have been there for 45 years. I think it's been here for more than 50 years. The waiters have been here for at least that time. Don't expect to get chatted up by a waiter at Tio Pepe. They're not friendly, but man, they do their job. But they do a lobster thermidor tableside. They take a whole live lobster, split it at the table, saute it in butter, flambe it with brandy, and the guy makes a string of brandy, the flame, the cream, it's unbelievable. It's French style. The advantage of this, ooh, fancy schmancy for sure. You'll blow somebody's pants off. They will not believe what they're seeing if you sit down and you do steak Diane tableside. You do a lobster flambe tableside. Maybe you should save this for Valentine's Day. How cool would that be for your loved one, right? There's only 2 of you do that tableside. But of course, the disadvantage is you really got to have some skill to do that. And you got to have the equipment to do a tableside as well. You could do Russian service. This is where food's plated from a platter by the waitstaff at the table. Now, you've either been to a Russian-style restaurant, or a lot of times they do this country club. Sometimes Prix Fix restaurants will do this. So the waiter will come out with one platter, and it will have, let's just say, slices of roast beef, let's say Duchess potatoes, individual Duchess potatoes, and like green beans, arranged green beans. And he, with your plate in front of you, with spoons or tongs, this is very fancy English country inn service as well, with either a pair of tongs, or if he's skilled, he knows how to do kind of a chopstick thing with 2 spoons. He will make his plate, make your plate for you from the platter he's holding over your left shoulder onto your plate right in front of you. It's Russian service. And this is pretty cool. If you have, again, a smaller group of people, you could do that, and it's impressive in that you bring out the whole platter, everybody oohs and ahs. This is similar to English service, again, where you're carving at the table. And an advantage of this, like I said, it's impressive, and like English service, you could control the portion. The disadvantage, again, this takes some skill. You know, you can't throw food on the people's plate with your hands. You got to be able to use some tongs. You got to be able to balance plates. And again, it's like English service. It's time consuming. You can't do this for 20 people. You on your own can't go around and serve everyone. Now, the 9th type you can combine with a lot of other things, because synchronized service is when food is served to all the diners simultaneously by the waitstaff. Each diner has their personal waiter. Now, you might have seen this at the fanciest of weddings. You see this in country clubs, often on cruise ships. Really fancy restaurants in Europe will do this, where the entire table is served, and they stand back. They will all come. They'll stand about a foot or 2 behind you, and a captain, usually a table captain, will make some kind of noise, or even just eye contact, like, hup. Everyone will stand back and just make a small noise. Everyone will step forward, and every plate will touch that table at the exact same time. This is where synchronized swimming came from. Not many people, no, that's a lie. I just thought it and said it. It's not true. It's not where synchronized swimming came from. What if we combine the 2? What if it was synchronized swimming and synchronized food service? You can't get the food wet, and oh, never mind. So what's the advantage of this? Oh, of course, unbelievably impressive. And again, you control the portion anytime you make the plate. The disadvantage, where you're going to find 8 other friends to serve the 8 friends that are eating. You know, you can't hire labor. And I'll tell you, the really tough thing about the labor for this is they only work for about a half hour. You know, and I've done this. I've hired people. There's so much going on, and I've got like 40 waiters on staff waiting just to serve, take the plates away, and they're done. So the disadvantage is the labor in all that. So when you start thinking about how you're going to put this together, you can think about American style or buffet style. You can do an interactive buffet where someone is serving. You can butler service when you have a limited amount. You can do English service, stand at the head of the table, carve, and be very magnanimous about it. Do that family service where everybody serves themselves. Go buy yourself a Guéridon and a propane or an induction heater. Cook at the table side and be really fancy. Serve from a platter to each person, Russian service, or go find 10 of your friends that want to serve 10 other of your friends and do a synchronized service. These are all the service styles that you can choose from for your holiday party, and it may change what you think you're going to cook. It may actually change your menu choices of what you're going to do, because now I know you're starting to think, oh my goodness, I don't want to put 200 crab cakes in a chafing dish and just let Uncle Herb go at it. I've seen him eat 35 crab cakes at a sitting, you know. Maybe I should pass them around, and you can do it yourself. You know, as the host or hostess of the holiday party, you can go around and be like, hi, hey, thank you, I made this. Get all the compliments yourself. You don't have to hire a wait staff. This is not what we're talking about. But you know what made me really curious, though? Putting this whole slideshow together for you, I went back to our Carefree Cooks community on Facebook here, and I wanted to see what service styles they're using. Now, you may not be aware of it, but you're each using a service style. So Margot made this pasta fagioli, really cold where she is. Talk about stick to your ribs, right? And with a little loaf of scratch-made home, really nice crusty bread. How would you serve that? Which of the 9 service styles that we just talked about would you use to serve that? You could put it in a crock pot, put it on the table with a ladle. Everybody could serve, give them little crocks. They could do that. Soup a lot of times is played up in the kitchen, so that's American style. You could put a little crusty piece of bread right on the plate next to it, right? You start thinking about even soup. How would I serve soup, you know? Alan did chicken thighs with pasta, veggies, and feta cheese. But you know what I thought was just a different plating, right? No right, no wrong here. But most people like to do the trident plate, right? 3, there we go. 3 on the trident. It's the starch, the beef, and the protein. And they put the protein on one part of the plate, they put the starch on the other side of the plate, and the green beans go over here, right? It's 3 parts to the plate. But yet, why not? Why can't you put the pasta, then the chicken on top of that, and sauce the whole thing? There's nothing wrong with that. Go to an Italian restaurant. Order chicken parmesan. That's probably the way it's going to be served, on top of the chicken. So, nicely done, Alan. I really like that. What's this? Jason. Look at Jason's nice presentation. Did his burger of fresh-made chips, but what I like is the chips surrounding the burger. You know, again, usually the burger's shoved all the way off to the side of the plate, and then the chips take up 90% of the plate. This is one of the cardinal rules of plating. Don't let the side dish take up the majority of the real estate. The main item here is the burger. Make it the main item on the plate and put the chips around it. But a lot of times, like I said, the burger gets shoved off to the corner, and it looks like a plate of chips, even though they're fresh-made, beautiful chips. But the burger looks secondary. That isn't the way it should be. So good plate up on that. Different service. Don, he's in Wisconsin, so you know he's cold. Don made chili. But now a lot of people might put condiments in a separate bowl. A lot of people might like just put them, boom, right on top. But the way of serving this is almost like a plate up. This is like an American service, or this could be an English service. Like, I know I'm overdoing it, but go with me here. Don is sitting at the head of the table, the head of the Wisconsin holiday table, and he is serving the chili from a steaming crock. And each time he's garnishing with a little cheese on one edge, a little chopped onion, a little sour cream on the other edge. That's English service for chili. You get me? You don't have to be carving a turkey to do English service. You can do English service for chili. I thought that was really cool. Anticipating what you eat, how cool is it to pipe what it is on your biscotti. Marilyn did these gingerbread biscotti, and then she put an icing on top, and then she wrote the word gingerbread on it. What a great presentation. So many different ways to present this. Also, even with cookies, you could Butler Service them, right? Everybody at the end of the meal, they're sipping their hot toddies. They've got their hot chocolate. I'm going to release my adult hot chocolate video this week. It's a holiday tradition. You could be sipping Chef Todd's adult hot chocolate, and you come around with a tray of these. Hey, what are they? It says right on them what they are. That's what makes it so easy. I thought that was really cool too. Nicely done. Edward is doing avocado toast. The fanning of the avocado, the display of that. This is a beautiful plate up. It could have been diced up egg, garnished on the right-hand side. It could have been chopped tomato. I like the consistency, the way everything is sliced. These are our carefree cooks. Again, these are not professional chefs. People think like I'm showing my chef buddies. They're not. These are people that may have started from nowhere and have adopted our methods in carefree cooking. I thought this was so cool too. Michael did a cinnamon bun, or in the UK, a Chelsea bun Christmas tree. Do a whole bunch of sticky buns, line them up as a Christmas tree. That's a family-style service when you put it in the middle of the table and you have everybody pick from it. One of the most famous examples of that is croquembouche. Croquembouche at the holidays. I used to make it all the time. Cream-filled puffs stacked up like a Christmas tree, glued together with caramelized sugar. You put it in the middle of the table and you tear at it. That's a family service. So that was cool. But look, it doesn't all have to be sweet at the holidays, right? Sam did a pork chop with grape tomatoes, sprouts, and potatoes, and look how beautifully they're cut. Look at that. All the same shape, all rounded in that like rainbow that goes along the plate. You can't do this on a buffet. You know, you can't trust that someone will make a plate that beautiful if you give them all the food. So if Sam wants to do this plate again, you know it's played up in the kitchen. You know Sam has to do his art in the kitchen. He can't let someone else to do it, which makes me think Sam's probably a lot like me. When he goes to a buffet somewhere, he does like a beautiful plate up from the buffet. Probably so. There we go. Look how cool this was. Darcy took tapioca and colored it 3 different ways. So we have a white, a green, and a raspberry, I think it is, a 3-way tapioca. That can be laid out on a buffet. You do all those in individual glasses ahead of time, lay it out on a buffet. It could be waiter serve-it, where you bring it, put it down in front of everyone. This kind of display can be done in any of the display ways that we talked about today. So that's so cool what's going on in our Carefree Cooks community, because they're already using the skills that I've talked about today. They just don't know it, right? So, and there's so many people whose grandmas, whose mothers are fantastic cooks, and they're practicing methods, but they just don't know it. So like when I point it out to you, there are just always so many aha moments, and that's what I love. So who's joining us today? Joey Sedano is with us. Joey is a legend in cooking, web cooking classes history. Let me see if I can get my comments up here. Hey. Hello, everyone. More comments. I have so much trouble seeing the comments. Oh, please let me see the comments. There we go. Now I can see the comments. Yeah, love the tapioca idea. Grammy is saying. Heather is with us. Hey, kudos, Sam. Yeah, that plate up was unbelievable. The tree was great. Everybody loves each other. Everybody loves Chili's. Everybody loves Don's Chili. Butler hors d'oeuvres family. Okay, looking good. Yeah, people that ask me like if there's a printout for this, there's not. Just watch the video again. Take a like a screenshot. Good. Hey, Merry Christmas. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you so much. Yeah, Thomas. And you start to go, oh, I didn't know my mom did English service. I didn't know. Yeah, Bob, you always match the method to the service. So, Bob, if you're going to cook table side, it can't be a roasting method. You can't like bring your oven to the table side for a 4-hour roast. While they all sit there. It's going to have to be quick in a saute pan. Sharon had a catering nightmare last night. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, running out of food, just a portioning thing. That's a math issue, Sharon. It's just doing math ahead of time. But sometimes you run into the people that are just heavy eaters. You know, it's just really, really difficult. Merry Christmas to all. I'm getting a lot of people. Merry Christmas. Finger foods for the party. Guy says just bacon wrap anything. All right, we're going to be more creative than that guy. Kimberly has learned so much. Thank you, Kimberly. I appreciate that. Joan is wishing everyone a happy holiday. I don't see any specific questions there for you. So like I said, it's the last Tuesday Talk live of the year. Thank you so much, everyone. I just, no matter where you are, no matter who you are, thank you for all the time that we've spent together this year. We're going to do even more. So no matter what you believe, no matter how you celebrate, I want you to do it around great food. I want you to do it around great food and cooking, no matter what your food heritage is, no matter what your food likes or dislikes are, no matter what your diet needs or wants are, you can practice your carefree cooking. You can look at ingredients you want to cook with. You can enjoy the time with friends and family. Thank you for all the hearts. I see all your hearts. Thank you very much, everyone. I want you to gather friends and family around. Do you know why? There we go. New Year's Eve. Hey, because New Year's Eve is coming. The holidays are coming. Bring everyone together around your friends and family so you can wow them with the way that you cook. I just want you to have that sense of pride, to impress people with the way that you're cooking, and you will sit down on New Year's Day and you will say, oh, I'm so happy that I shared with other people. I'm so happy that I made other people happy. So thank you, everyone. Wishing you a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, a great 2019, and we will see you after January. The Chef Todd reminding you that there is always a method to your cooking success. Happy New Year, everyone. See you soon.